a 90s baby who loves the 90s anime style. Y'all know this. But today, let's take a stroll down memory lane to see the progression of anime styles over the decades. Animation style is something that I try not to factor into my anime reviews unless I just really love it or really hate it. I think that of all styles, the 90s hand art style is superior. It is the greatest there ever was and ever will be. But I gotta give props where it's due because other eras weren't bad, they just weren't as good. So let's take a look over the last 50 years and see just how far we've come. If you love anime art styles, no matter the time period, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Let's start with the 80s, the foundation era. So this era was defined by fully hand-drawn cell animation. Everything was painted, inked, and photographed frame by frame. That's why 80s anime tends to feel heavier, grainier, and sometimes slower. Now the defining traits are thicker line work, muted or earthy color palettes, very deliberate movement, strong mechanical and sci-fi detail. You see this clearly in shows like Akira, Mobile Suit Gundam, Fist of the North Star. A lot of 80s anime leaned serious. Political themes, war, apocalypse, dystopia. This wasn't cute anime. This was sit down and think anime. The 1990s, the golden age, and yes, I am biased. Now the 90s, this is the T here. Still hand-drawn, still cell-based, but cleaner lines, brighter colors, better character acting. The defining traits were expressive faces, high contrast shading, stylized proportions, iconic character silhouettes. This right here, this is the era of Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, all of the greats. The 90s perfected character animation. People felt alive, hair moved, clothes had weight, punches looked painful. This is also where anime really leaned into stylized emotions without over animating. The 2000s, the transition era. Now the 2000s are where things start to shift. This era sits right between traditional cell animation and early digital production. The defining traits are cleaner, thinner line art, softer color gradients, less texture, more polish, some stiffness during motion. Now you see this style in Naruto, Bleach, Inuyasha, Death Note, the animes of this nature. This is when studios start digitizing coloring and compositing. The art looks cleaner, but sometimes loses that handmade warmth. The 2010s, the digital boom. Now this is when digital animation fully takes over. The defining traits are extremely clean line work, bright saturated colors, fast action cuts, heavy use of digital effects. This era gave us Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, you know, the ones that y'all love. The animation got smoother, faster, and flashier, but also more standardized. A lot of shows started to look similar. Now, here's an exception to the rule outside of the norm. Sailor Moon Crystal is technically a 2010s anime, but stylistically, it was doing its own thing. The goal with Crystal was to make the anime look as close as possible to Takeuchi's manga panels. That resulted in extremely manga-accurate proportions, long limbs, narrow shoulders, tiny torsos, and flat pastel heavy digital coloring. And that became a sore spot for a lot of people, especially me, so that's why I'm putting it in the video. Now we're in the 2020s. This era is all about hybrids, hand-drawn animation, and digital compositing, CGI, and post-processing. The defining traits is ultra-smooth motion, stylized effects, high-contrast lighting, experimental camera work. Now examples of this include Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Solo Leveling. This era is visually ambitious, but it's also risky. When it works, it works. It works now, but when it doesn't, child, we talk about it. So, has anime lost something? And here's the real question. Has the art improved, or did it just lose something when it left fully hand-drawn styles behind? Modern anime is stunning, don't get me wrong, but 90s anime felt personal. You could see the animator's hand in every frame, and maybe that's why people kept chasing that aesthetic. Which anime era has your favorite art style and why? 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, or the 2020s? I want to close by addressing the elephant in the room because it does go hand in hand with the evolution of anime art styles over time, and that's the depiction of Black characters. In older eras, some designs leaned into imagery that reads as blackface or caricature to Western audiences. Dark skin paired with exaggerated lips and features. Japan also has its own historical context with blackface iconography, which complicates the conversation but doesn't erase how those designs land for viewers today. There's been long-standing debate around characters like Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball. Some point to cultural or religious inspiration, while others argue that the design still resembles racist caricature, and both things can be true at the same time. We can also see how this conversation shifts over time when you look at characters like Canary. Her design changes noticeably between the 1999 adaptation of Hunter x Hunter and the 2011 remake, which many people point to as an example of studios becoming more aware of how certain features are received, whether intentional or not. And then there's characters like Usopp. He's one of the most beloved characters in the series of One Piece, but he's also frequently brought up in discussions about racial coding, and some fans argue that his design is exaggerated in a way that echoes older caricatures, while others focus more on his depth, growth, and emotional writing. Again, both conversations can exist at the same time, and they should. So in more recent decades, the question isn't just how black characters look, but how they're written, treated, and allowed to exist within the story. Has anime actually improved, or has it learned how to be less obvious about its problems? Me personally, I think it is improving. I think we have a lot of authors, a lot of animators who understand how to represent black people, and appreciate it, but not appropriate it, also not caricaturize it. So if you're new to anime or just looking for some new shows to watch, I'm building out a playlist just for you. So go check that out and make sure you subscribe. When one arc ends, another one begins. See you next time.